Jaguar Wright is putting the spotlight on every woman who's ever been tied to Diddy, and the revelations are explosive. Allegations are surfacing that Diddy may have secretly been working as an FBI informant, and now the biggest names in Hollywood are scrambling to distance themselves. From J-Lo to Oprah, Ellen, and beyond, the silence is deafening. PR teams are gone, cameras are off, and backdoor exits are being planned. Jaguar isn't holding back, dropping names, exposing ties, and hinting at an industry-wide cover-up. In this breakdown, we'll go through every name, every clip, and uncover what could happen next as the fallout continues to spread.
He said every room in Diddy's mansions were wired with cameras. And he had some of the footage, he had some of the pictures, and he displayed those in the lawsuit that came out. And this was used for blackmail material. They'd bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way to the top. And so you get these people in compromising situations. The drinks were laced. The videotapes were hot. And then at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning, what did I do? And then they have compromising material on you. And then they can guide your career. They could kill your career, but they got you. And it wasn't just people in the music business. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people from the royal family. And we were also told by the former bodyguard that Diddy was an FBI informant. Whoa. So he was a snitch.
The first name on Jaguar Wright's hit list is none other than Beyoncé, and Jaguar claims she's been sounding the alarm about her for years. According to Jaguar, Queen Bey wasn't just a bystander while Jay-Z and Diddy threw their infamous parties, she was part of it. Witnesses allege that Beyoncé was right there alongside Jay-Z at Diddy's gatherings, not reporting the crimes, but helping to cover them up. One victim even claimed she watched as the chaos unfolded. Instead of speaking out, Beyoncé allegedly helped shield both men and reap the rewards. Jaguar points to Beyoncé's meteoric rise since marrying Jay-Z, winning Grammys year after year, as proof that silence and complicity came with benefits.
Beyoncé, just as evil in your opinion? Has she done things you know of? Is it more Jay-Z in your mind? What is the...
I know a lot of things that shameless hat has done, but her greatest sin is vanity. And I'm going to say this about you now, baby. Everybody who knows you are dumb as a sack of hair. Truth is, if it wasn't for your singing and your dancing, you would have never been anything more than a shampoo girl in your mother's shop. You ain't got the common sense of a damn dog.
But that's not criminal.
Huh?
It's not criminal. Is there?
No. I'm going to get you there.
Oh, I see. She's just too dumb to know what she's in for.
No, she's just dumb enough to be down with whatever's going on.
Okay.
She's probably one of the most least empathetic people I've ever met in my life.
Jaguar Wright went straight for the jugular, exposing Beyoncé and Jay-Z on national TV during an interview with Piers Morgan. After she dropped those bombshell claims, their team reportedly rushed to silence the story with a cease and desist. But here's the catch. They never filed a defamation lawsuit. And they know why. The moment they step into a courtroom, everything Jaguar has been saying could be forced into the light. As one user on X pointed out, funny how nobody's ever sent their lawyers after Jaguar. She's been spilling dirt on these people for years. No lawsuits, no NDAs, no gag orders, nothing. That silence might just speak louder than any denial.
What happens with exposures? You make yourself vulnerable to all kinds of attacks, seen and unseen. What happened to my friend? When he passed away, there was $250,000 on my head and $150,000 on his. But what if I had decided to go back with my head held low and said, Sean, I'm willing to play the game, and then found a way to get inside of him and move him around
thing about platforms. The reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as they have something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too, and we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Another high-profile name tied to both Diddy and disturbing allegations is Naomi Campbell. For over 2 decades, she's maintained close ties with Diddy, even after her name surfaced in investigations linking her to notorious predators like Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. That connection has cast a long shadow, and Jaguar's claims are now reigniting questions about just how deep Naomi's involvement may go.
You were not aware of Epstein activities. Did you know who he was?
Yes, I knew him. I was introduced to him on my 31st birthday by my ex-boyfriend, Flavio. Most people, especially this awful son, wanted me to be in jail. And I'm not saying what my behavior was correct. I think that everyone during this period of Terminal 5 madness was upset and irate. And I guess I just took it too far, maybe.
To make matters even darker, Naomi Campbell's track record goes way back. In 1998, she was convicted of violently attacking her assistant, choking her in a fit of rage. That case was just the beginning. Since then, she's faced more than 10 separate charges in the U.S. for physically assaulting staff members, even lashing out at police officers who tried to intervene. Her pattern of violence began right around the same time she became close with Diddy, and just like him, she somehow managed to avoid jail time. Nearly a year before federal agents raided Diddy's mansion, Naomi was back in court once again, this time for clawing at a photographer's eye. The outcome? A 6-month suspended sentence, but still no prison.
We all know Naomi has a temper.
Today, the 45-year-old supermodel was found guilty in a Sicilian court for assaulting a photographer. She was given a 6-month suspended prison term, so she escapes the dreaded orange jumpsuit.
If you thought being caught on camera attacking a photographer was bad, wait until you hear what Demi Moore was filmed doing. A longtime friend of Diddy, Moore has come under fire after a resurfaced clip from 1982 exposed her behavior with a 14-year-old. The video shows Moore kissing her former General Hospital co-star Philip Tanzini multiple times during his 14th birthday party, even telling him, "I love Philip. He's one of my most favorite people." The disturbing footage has sparked outrage, raising serious questions about Moore's past and her connections within Hollywood's inner circle.
Lois is the greatest, and I'm putting in a buck.
Okay, one more time.
Why do you think everybody's come out? I don't know. Maybe just because I love them all and I hope they all love me. We do love him. And I love them.
If you think it's for the pure publicity, you're out of your mind.
Absolutely, because he's one of my most favorite people.
Have you been working on the show?
Almost a month and a half.
What's your role?
I'm Luke's new love.
And I'm Philip Tanzini, and I play Jeremy, and you're stealing my part. I'm sorry. We're moving on to interview number 2 here. Oh, okay.
Because I love Philip, and he's the only one I love.
Do your interview already.
All right.
You got Ashton Kutcher in love with Mila Kunis on that 70s show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can, and apparently he replenished himself by doing inappropriate things with her daughters. I'm glad. I'm sure you're glad, like Bruce Willis.
The worst part about the Demi Moore situation is that Demi Moore was a victim herself. Back when Demi was just 15, her mother sold her to a random stranger for $500 in an interview about her book. Demi Moore opened up about how her mother used to take her to bars so guys could check her out and pay her to have their way with her. Demi Moore even said that she still remembers and then hearing that her mother knew about it and had actually allowed it.
Now to Demi Moore, she revealed in her memoir that she was sexually assaulted at the age of 15, writing that her mother let the abuser in their home. Well, today Demi talked to Howard Stern more about this on his Sirius XM radio show.
You say you pushed it away. You don't need. You just
I
recently.
pushed it away because I felt like it was my fault. Like I felt like I had behaved in a way that was
provocative
and mature. Like I really knew a lot, and I never really looked at myself as being a kid, and so I never looked at it as. I mean, I saw it as an unfortunate and,
Yet he forced you into it.
I was very embarrassed by it. In all honesty, I think that the shame I carried because of the rape made me afraid to feel I could comfortably express myself sexually.
It makes me just remember the conversation that I had with her where she talked about the purpose of her writing this book was to share her story in hopes that it would empower other young women. She did talk about a lot of other things to Howard Stern. She said she auditioned for Top Gun, obviously didn't get the part.
Of the few celebrities who actually left the U.S., Ellen stands out the most. In 2024, just after authorities raided Diddy's Miami mansion, she shocked fans by announcing she was leaving the country for good. The timing of her departure raised eyebrows, especially since she also seemed to reinvent herself, ditching her signature blonde look and moving to England in an apparent attempt to start over.
They're losing their minds.
She sounded so sincere, didn't she?
Very sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah.
Release the Diddy files. Come on, Donald Trump. We want to know whose name.
So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that is thrown at her as well. But what a bunch of hypocrites.
Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly fled the US, bound for the UK, after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States permanently. There are also reports the couple have put their Montecito mansion on the market. Entertainment publication The Wrap has the exclusive story and said, Ellen DeGeneres and wife Portia de Rossi have moved to rural England, put their Montecito estate on the market, and plan to never return to the United States, telling friends the election of Donald Trump was their primary motivation. Ellen DeGeneres has been a vocal Trump critic, so the move doesn't come as a surprise to most.
You're really bad. If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Ellen DeGeneres has been seen rocking a new hair color since moving to the UK. The comedian changed her signature blonde look to brunette as she was seen enjoying a night out with friends at a pub called The Farmer's Dog. Ellen went out with her wife, Portia de Rossi, and a few friends, including the Torn singer Natalie Imbruglia. Sources told TMZ earlier this week that Ellen and Portia moved to England because of Donald Trump's re-election. They have reportedly settled into their new home in the southwest region of England, but they purchased the property before the election.
What makes this even more intriguing is that with Diddy's release on the horizon, Ellen is suddenly plotting a return. The very same person who vowed to leave the U.S. for good after his arrest now appears eager to stage a comeback, just as news breaks that Diddy has been found not guilty.
Sean P. Diddy Combs' mom, Janice, waving to the crowd, his children breaking into smiles as they leave the federal courthouse in downtown Manhattan after the stunning verdict. Shouts of congratulations fill the air as they climb into a waiting van.
Congratulations, Mama Combs!
One figure working hard to distance herself from Diddy is Oprah. Her ties to Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and Diddy have long been public, with photos even showing her sharing a kiss with Harvey. But the moment Weinstein was exposed, Oprah quickly shifted gears, acting as if their close friendship had never existed.
He was running with Oprah and them. He was running with that whole crew. Weinstein, Oprah, Epstein, he was running with that whole crew. They want to know how we're going to do it, how the public is going to take him. Is the public going to let him back in? And the public is not. The public is already canceling him. I don't believe the industry has canceled him yet. All those people who went to those Diddy parties, not one of them had came out and denounced what he has done. I haven't heard one of them. I have not heard one person denounce, well, man, let God handle it. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here with that. If that was your daughter, would you let God handle it? All those people, they ain't denounced him. They ain't definitely, they can't come forward and say, yo, I support them, because it would mess up their brand. It would mess up their brand. Jay-Z, we the only one could call each other Sean. Jay is the only one could call me Sean. I'm the only one could call him Sean. Get the hell out of here. If that ain't no fun boy stuff, but you ain't had not one person, brother, not one person sit there, denounce what he did, or come forward and say, I support him.
We will have lost this moment. I think this is a moment where no matter what business you work in, there have been women who not only had the disease to please, that's a part of it, but who felt that in order to keep my job, in order to keep my position, in order to keep moving forward, I've got to smile, I've got to look the other way, I got to pretend he didn't say that, I got to pretend he didn't touch me. I think those days are about to be over.
Are over. And if it happens to you back in the day, you would say, sometimes you're not even aware what he just said wasn't really inappropriate.
I know you've had a couple moments.
Where you just think, what did he just say?
Yes, I remember Gail had a moment when she came and said to me what somebody said that was so inappropriate. I was like, oh my God, you can sue over that. But
no, and all I said was, what did you say? And then they repeated it.
Yes.
It's terrible. I just sat there typing with my 20-something-year-old.
You pretend you didn't hear it.
Yes.
You pretend it's okay. You pretend you didn't.
No, it isn't. You're right, Jeff. You're absolutely right.
But a lot of women have been silenced, and I know.
But I do think it's going to change.
Being a victim of child sexual abuse, that when you feel like you cannot be heard, and then other people start speaking out, it makes you feel like, oh, now I can speak out too.
Yeah.
So,
and you've been speaking about it for
years.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not. You know, I don't follow their brand of politics, I guess.
But if you can't think for yourself, then you're not really free, are you?
No, you're not. You're not. But I've been excluded. I've been excluded on Oprah, you know.
On Oprah?
On Oprah, yeah, I've been excluded. Yeah, man.
I would think you'd be the person Oprah would want to promote. I mean, you grew up in South Central, you were successful at a young age, you have dignity, you say what you think. Like, I thought that was the goal.
Me too. You know, I don't know what it is, but, you know, several of my, you know, I had a movie called Barbershop, you know.
Yeah, I remember.
That I wasn't invited to participate with the cast. I produced a show called Black White, and it was a very controversial show. And once again, they had the whole cast on, but I wasn't invited. And so I don't know.
On
I don't know
Oprah,
what that's,
on Oprah's
yeah,
show.
Yeah, so I don't know what that's really.
But Oprah's obviously a saintly, godlike figure who's revered by all decent people. Why would she exclude you?
I really don't know. You know, that's something that I would love to find out. But I can't tell you, you know, if there's a single thing that I've done or said to her.
Have you noticed that it is more controversial to criticize Oprah than to burn the American flag?
Really?
Seems that way. I've never heard anybody criticize Oprah.
Is it really just coincidence that Oprah always seems linked to people who later end up at the center of abuse scandals, only for her to then claim she stands firmly against such crimes? The pattern is hard to ignore. Time and again, whenever a major case comes to light, Oprah somehow turns out to have been close to or friendly with the very people now under fire.
Jeffrey Epstein, P. Diddy, what do you think is going to happen with all that now?
I knew a lot of people who knew Jeffrey Epstein, like a lot. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, thank God. I certainly knew a lot of people who knew him, and like a lot, like more than 10. Jeffrey Epstein was not considered like some far out sinister figure in the world that I lived in. I mean, I'm just being totally honest about this. He was like this kind of interesting guy who had, you know, had this kind of rotating salon at his house off Fifth Avenue in New York, and there was always the Israeli prime minister and former presidents and like just interesting people, you know? I did not understand what that was about at all. And so when he died, I was like, oh, poor guy, himself in prison. And then I got a call from his brother, just randomly. And his brother said, you know, he did not commit suicide. Was really shocked by that. And I thought, maybe his brother's crazy. So this set off a multi-year journey for me that really changed my views about a lot of different things. And the bottom line is Jeffrey Epstein was, and not only murdered, but he was murdered in the most secure federal lockup in Midtown Manhattan. In the country. And so what is that? What is that? Think about that for a minute.
3 days after Oprah publicly supported victims of sexual assault in the wake of numerous allegations against Harvey Weinstein, singer Seal Instagrammed this meme, showing Winfrey kissing the disgraced mogul. It reads, when you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution.
Please welcome Seal!
The 54-year-old who's appeared on Oprah's show captioned his post, "Oh, I forgot, that's right, you'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially assaulting young starry-eyed actresses, my bad." While Weinstein maintains his innocence, Seal hasn't commented further, and Oprah has not responded.
This moment is a really powerful time for everybody to get woke.
Fans have come to her defense, pointing out Winfrey is a sexual survivor. They also posted pics of Seal's ex, Heidi Klum, kissing Weinstein too.
The person most closely tied to Diddy, and even linked to a police investigation with him, is Jennifer Lopez. She and Diddy dated for nearly 3 years during the 1990s. In 1999, J. Lo was by his side during a notorious nightclub incident that left one person dead and another injured, a story that dominated headlines at the time. While no charges were ever filed against her, the event did put both her and Diddy under heavy legal scrutiny.
All Jennifer Lopez had to do was marry a white boy, Oscar winner, for people to stop remembering that she had a gun in her pocketbook. She had gunshot residue on her hands the night that Natanya was shot at that club. For all we know, that bullet came from the gun that was in her hand. And not once has she spoken up for the betterment of that woman. Not once has she donated to her family or for her medical bills that she's still paying, or say something in her defense to stop Puffy from gaslighting her and trying to put hits out on her because he was afraid that maybe one day they would open the case and she still has the bullet fragments in her face. Like J-Lo has said nothing. Nothing. You really thought that just running off and marrying Ben Affleck was going to take you out of the Diddy downfall? But it saved her the first time though, didn't it? Because as soon as that club was over and as soon as they finished interrogating her, when she sat there and cried like a baby, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. Benny Medina put her with that drunk white boy until she ran him off. Like, there are people sitting here screaming out at the toll that the atrocities that Sean Combs has done to their lives, and you're trying to avoid your part in the story or the fact that you never spoke up. You know, you want to tell people on the low and put it out there that the movie was about you getting away from Puffy, but you didn't think about the trail of girls that you left behind?
Suge Knight, the former Death Row Records boss, has made some bold allegations. He suggested that Diddy wasn't the untouchable mogul people believed him to be. According to Suge, Diddy may have had an understanding with federal authorities, something that could explain how he managed to dodge serious charges time and time again.
He's going to go to prison. And if he do, it'll be for something very, very small. It wouldn't be nothing what the people think. I don't think he's going to go nowhere long. And at the same time, you got to look at it. The best witness they had is Keefe D. Keefe D been an informant for a very, very long time. And Keefe D is getting ready to go to trial for the murder of Tupac. Keefe D said it, everybody else know it, and Keefe D says the money came from Puffy, the Tupac, and myself. So if they really wanted Puffy that bad, Keefe D would have put a deal with them, got on that stand, and broke it down. That would have been the RICO right there. That would have been higher right there.
One man to the next. And I got a lot of respect for you, Suge. Suge, I got so much respect for you, bro, because when this East Coast, West Coast war could have been shut down, Pac was living, Big was living, Eric B, Big D, y'all set up there and y'all was gonna set up a meeting. Everybody who had something to do with it was supposed to show up. And Puff refused to. You didn't, brother. You wanted this shit to be over with. Even though you didn't f with Puff, y'all wasn't dealing with each other no more. I remember when you and Pac was in the car behind the House of Blues. You was in the red Rolls Royce, Pac was in the white. I was in the car when Puff rolled up on you and said, yo, Suge, we got any problems down here? And you said, bro, I don't know any problems you got. That was even after Jake was... You said, brother, I don't know any problems you got.
What do you think? How deep could this really go? And who do you think will be the next big name to surface? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button. And be sure to subscribe, because the next name Jaguar reveals might be the one Hollywood won't be able to cover up anymore.